Welcome to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. My guest today is Charlotte Dennett. And Charlotte and I are going to talk about the situation in Venezuela because Trump is saying that it's due to, drugs and stuff, but it's really about oil, right?
Absolutely. As usual.
Right. So tell us a little bit about, the history of Venezuela, how rich it is in these natural resources and how long we've been coveting these resources.
Well, yes, Venezuela is said to have the richest reserves in the world, and so it's long been coveted. Um, One of the people who um, became very interested in Venezuela's oil was Nelson Rockefeller. Together with my husband, Jerry Colby, we wrote a book. Um, Well, I'll show it to you. It's here. That's Nelson. That's him right there.
It-
Thy Will Be Done: The Conquest of the Amazon, Nelson Rockefeller and Evangelism in the Age of Oil. Published in 94 by HarperCollins and subsequently suppressed, as is most of our work. But at any rate, um, Nelson was head of a he was one of the heirs of a major fortune of John Rockefeller. And he got interested in the oil in Latin America in the late 1930s. Creole petroleum, which Rockefeller interests were heavily invested in, was going through a lot of labor unrest. And so he went down and visited and could see that conditions of the workers were not good. There were a lot of oil spillages and so on. And he tried to initiate some reforms. But the fact of the matter is that the oligarchs, and certainly he was one of them, he had a whole secret mission in Latin America. Most people don't know about it. They think he's just the governor of New York. But he built an
Right.
empire during World War II when he was designated coordinator for inter-American affairs by the Roosevelt administration. And one of the things that he was to do was to get rid of Nazi influence in South America, which was considerable. A lot of the Nazis came in through Argentina, and so his job was to develop relations with corporations, corporate leaders, and military, and try to create an American domination of that part of the world, and which it became. The coordinator of Inter-American Fair had his hands in many, many different countries in Latin America. What we had been focused on was the Amazon, which he had a shining dream, quote unquote, of developing the Amazon for its oil and ranching and agribusiness. But Venezuela was certainly one area where they were interested. Um, so Venezuela has gone through a lot of rocky years because of its oil wealth, and the current regime under Maduro has been targeted because he had nationalized it, and they don't like that. They want to go in and privatize the oil there, and also because of the Venezuela's connection with the BRICS, that is a different whole coalition involving Brazil and Iran and Russia and China. And so there's this war that's going on between two giant groups. One's the West with NATO, and the other are third world countries, which frankly were sick and tired of being bullied by the United States in its neocolonial policies. And Venezuela was definitely bullied under Maduro. Sanctions were imposed on it. I mean, there's been a major effort uh, to rid Venezuela of its alliance with these other countries. This is economic warfare, and greatly over oil, and yet the American people are told that it's about drugs. And as we've all been learning, most of the drugs came from other country, not from Venezuela. But that doesn't matter. Trump has his pretext to go in there and try to overthrow it. And of course, then we've got this woman Machado, who was given the Nobel Peace Prize, and that was a travesty. You want me to talk about it? I will.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So Maria, let's see, Maria Corina Machado. She's a far right leader in Venezuela, and for years she's been trying to basically help the U.S. do a regime change in Venezuela. And she actually said that if Trump helped her overthrow Maduro, her new regime would be, quote, the strongest ally in the region for the United States.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and the whole idea is not only to get control over Venezuela and its oil, but also to attack. Let's see here. She condemned China, Iran, Cuba, Nicaragua, Hamas, and Hezbollah. See, this has become a worldwide war now. I mean, the very fact that she's meddling in Gaza and at the same time encouraging Trump to go after Venezuela. So I suppose the value of studying Trump is he's doing everything above board. I mean, he's being right out there. He's saying what it's all about. It's about oil.
Right.
Drill, baby, drill.
Right.
And now why is Trump so fascinated in oil? And one of the reasons is he has learned that that the expansion and development of artificial intelligence requires fossil fuels to set up these highly intensive factories that are being built all over the world. That is why he is focusing so much on oil. That's one reason. The other reason being that he's been beholden to oil from the very start for donations. And I wrote a piece for Counterpunch, and I called it the Tulsa travesty, because when he was running for his reelection in 2020, he stopped off in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he was coveting major oil um, deposits into his account. In other words, donations. Harold Hamm was the Texan oil man that he was courting, and he had this ceremony scheduled to be right next to what is called the it's Greenwood, Oklahoma, and that was where the Black Wall Street developed.
Hmm.
And it was all about oil. This was in the early 20s. And Tulsa at the time was considered the oil capital of the world. And
Oklahoma?
oh, absolutely, Oklahoma.
Well,
Huge, huge. So it still is very big. But at that time, back then, there were some uh, blacks who had migrated out to Oklahoma and happened to settle on land that was rich in oil. And the whites were not happy about that. And
uh-huh.
so there was a massacre. It was done, I think, 1921 or 22, and they wiped it out. And here's Trump holding a campaign rally right near that, and so people caught on that this was a travesty, because he has no historical understanding of anything. He's just out to make deals, and so that's when I learned how beholden he was to Texan oil money. to finance his campaign, and so it's both personal to advance him in power, and it's also strategic, geopolitical, um, trying to corner as many oil supplies as possible. I haven't seen him say it outright that this is to feed the new technocrats out in, the West mostly. Um, but they need fossil fuels. So what's happening is they're undermining all the environmental constraints that had been implemented, and Biden was carrying some out. But I mean, to see this woman um, supporting Trump in his efforts in Israel and against Gaza as well goes to show, my main theme is all these endless wars are about oil. It remains the most coveted natural resource. Well, it used to be primarily because it was the source of the fuel of the military and still is. That's one major reason. But now you got another one, which is it's the fuel of artificial intelligence. So our world is in big trouble, in my view.
Okay, so AI is becoming a big thing.
Yeah,
Okay, I look at Chat GP. If I type something up, I look at Chat GPT, sorry. And I'm kind of I rely on that a little bit, but I had no idea that was linked to fossil fuels.
yeah. Well, in fact, a couple of months ago, I didn't know either, and I was on an interview, and the person informed me of that, and it was kind of blowing my mind. Then I started looking into it myself, and there it is. So all of us who wants to see a move away from fossil fuels now look at the horrors in Jamaica. These huge storms are just
Right.
wrecking whole countries, and you've got idiots who are saying it's all a hoax, like our dear president. He's saying that climate change is a hoax. Right. I was even on a show where there were two Arab, I guess they were professors, and they were saying it was a hoax. I mean, it just blows my mind that the power of the oil lobby is huge, huge, and they're powerful over Congress, for instance.
Hmm.
So you're not getting the whole story about, for instance, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, other than this was possibly the Nobel Committee's way of um, lessening Trump's revenge for not naming him as the Nobel Peace Prize winner, but they named one of his allies who will do anything for him if she was chosen and if she gets elected. She wants regime change, and that's what they're focusing on now. It's a very very serious time. Poor poor Latin America. I say that because they've been so exploited, colonized, marauded. One of the biggest times was in the 60s, 1960s, when a nationalist named Vargas, no, 1945 was the first time when President Vargas was overthrown. Nelson Rockefeller was involved in that. And then later, 1 month after the Kennedy assassination, you had this whole opening up of Brazil for development under the Johnson administration. Um, so, Venezuela has always been targeted, and I think we have to prepare ourselves for the possibility of regime change. He's certainly trying it out, and the Venezuelans are trying to resist, but he's got the largest battleship going out there and threatening, and so killing people in boats. Jesus Christ, it's
Let me
awful.
ask you a couple of questions. Um, I don't think maybe a lot of people know, but I think as a whole, the American populace does not know that we depend on fossil fuels to feed the war machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would
They
say,
don't know that. Yep.
okay,
Do you know
okay,
why they don't know it? Do you know why they don't know it?
tell me.
I interrupted you, but it's
Go ahead.
interesting.
Go ahead.
Because they know if the mothers of the world thought their boys and their husbands and relatives were being sent into war to support oil companies, they wouldn't go for it. So there's this pretexts are always developed
Mm-hmm.
without getting to the heart. And here we are now. Oh, Venezuela, we got to stop this drug
Right.
scourge from Venezuela, which is a lie. But it doesn't matter. Pretexts are a lie. That and oil companies rely on lies.
But
They
now we've got AI, and AI, it's happening faster than we could keep up with it, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to continue to accelerate. So people don't know the connection between oil and AI.
Yeah.
And if AI is going to make somebody's job easier or easier to write or inform other people, I think
Yeah.
we I think we're doomed.
Well, no, saying that we're doomed is like giving up. I'm not going to do it, even though you may be right. I've been assembling a whole bunch of files here, and I want to share with you something I found very interesting. Here is a woman. I'm going to show the picture. See that face there? Her name. Now, what is her name anyway? It's here. Um, she is suing Big Oil. She's the first one to do a wrongful death lawsuit against Big Oil. And her let's see, I'll get her name in a minute. Oh God, where is it? Why don't they name this woman? They're talking about the lawyers. Misty Leon. That's her name, Misty Leon. And her mother died in a heat dome. Uh, she was somewhere, I think, out west, and the heat was like 110 degrees, and her mother was effectively trapped in a car. She couldn't get out, and she died. And so, what Misty's done, there's this huge article in the New York Times, June 1st, 2025, and it's about her lawsuit against Big Oil for, lying to the American public and failing to report on the link between, climate change and fossil fuels. And what I found because I'm a lawyer and I've done a lot of personal injury lawsuits, okay, so I get it. The defense I found really interesting. The Big Oil's defense was this lawsuit is going to be very harmful to us and by extension to the United States. And then it goes on to say members of Congress know that the fossil fuel is a national security issue. Members of Congress know this, he said. Bingo. This is the first time I've gotten confirmation. I've always questioned why aren't our elected officials uh, going after big oil for its endless wars? They won't touch it. Now I know why. The oil lobby is throwing buckets of money and corrupting members of Congress or intimidating them. And so this is another reason why people don't know about this connection. I'm not blaming the people, I'm blaming the media, and undoubtedly, the media has also been influenced by this because I've tried to get my word out there, and the so-called mainstream media, which I would say the networks, cable TV, and some of your major newspapers, um, they won't go near it. They won't go near interviewing me, reviewing my books, and there are even people on the left that won't touch me. Thank you,
I
Cynthia. You
I
will. Thank
interview
you.
I interview you all the time.
Yeah. So, so we, well, what can we do? We do the best we can. That's all I can say.
So the bottom line is Venice, where separate. Oh boy.
Sovereignty? Is that the word you're looking for? I don't know.
Oh geez. Rattling our sabers for oil in Venezuela, correct?
Oh, wait, repeat that again.
We're rattling our sabers.
Oh, rattling our sabers. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
if
the dream. And we've got this winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my God. How low has it gone for the Nobel Committee to do that? I think it was to mollify the president for not naming him. I mean, here you've got Trump killing people, murdering people in the boats without even knowing who they are, and not confirming that they're doing drugs and transporting drugs. And I mean, at least the media is coming out on that. And the Venezuela oil, it's that has come out there. When you see the media reports, they'll say, "Well, Venezuela has a lot of oil." Okay, well, so what? So why is he doing this? And sometimes you don't get that same historical analysis of why oil is so important. But that's what it's all about. And Trump feels he can get away with it. He can, thanks to the Supreme Court, he can engage in all sorts of illegal activities and won't be charged with criminality. I mean, I hope that justice will finally prevail. It's really hard to say. We're at a very critical time right now. Our even the legislature is has been rendered impotent. They and different cities can sue Trump for his violation of long held rules about what a president can and cannot do. And I'm glad there's, you've got lawyers fighting back, but he seems to not. He doesn't care. He's just going to keep going. After all, he's almost 80 years old, okay, and he's going to do what he wants to do, and he's made a big fortune for his family, and he's disgracing our country. And the bombing of the East Wing. Oh my God! I don't. What did you think about that?
I've never been in the White House, so you know, I'm gonna reserve judgment. Although, the White House has been uh, there's been a lot of work done on the White House, right? In years past.
Nothing like this. I mean, this is, and they're all talking about the metaphor. Just demolishing the whole East Wing without even letting anybody know. That you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to. There are committees that oversee changes to national monuments, and now he just got rid of all the people in this particular committee that's responsible. He's gotten rid of them, so he's going to put new people in place. And I mean, turning it into a ballroom, how people are hurting for food and money, and it's incredible. But all
So
you have to do is study Germany in the late 30s, and you'll find your
ul-
answers.
ultimately, what do you think is going to happen with this skirmish with Venezuela?
Trump wants to do a regime change. And Trump knows that big oil is all for it because what the game is to privatize the oil industry in Venezuela. That way they get much bigger profits. And because big oil is behind this, um, I don't see what's stopping him. it's very worrisome. He feels he's got the power to do it. And the one thing that is stopping him is that the Venezuelan people are preparing and resisting. You know, Maduro does have a lot of people behind him. And I think what happened to him is largely because of the sanctions and the bullying. The fortress goes up. I
Mhm.
mean, we've seen that over and over again. They feel they have to protect themselves, and in the process, for their own national security, then you have people claiming that he's a dictator. And I mean, there are a lot of complaints, and Venezuela's gone through a lot with sanctions against it. So, but he still has some loyal supporters, and as far as I can see, the military is still behind him. It's the whole question is whether Trump can get enough of the military to oppose him to do the regime change. So whether it will be successful or not, I honestly can't say. But there here this woman Machado who's all in favor of it, and who is condemning China, Iran, Cuba, Nicaragua, Hamas, and Hezbollah all in one. I don't know who's going to win. Who's going to win? It's hard to say. What power
So,
do we have?
Charlotte, because you're the expert on oil. I'd like to have you back and focus on the candidates to talk about your your perspectives on what's going on.
Yeah, well, okay.
Okay.
Then we shall meet again, Cynthia.
Okay. So tell everybody real quick that you ran for Attorney General in Vermont.
Yes. I ran for Attorney General,
Hmm.
and I was a progressive. By the way, Vermont has a real third party. It's a progressive party, and it's got a number of people in the legislature. We have a progressive who's the mayor of Burlington now, and so it's still in its youth, but it's out there. And so this was back in 2008, uh, and Bush was ending his regime at that time, and there was a huge effort to impeach him. And Nancy Pelosi put her thumbs down on that.
Hmm.
And so then people started turning to the idea of prosecuting him once he got out of office because they knew they couldn't prosecute him while he was in office. But when he got out, and a friend of mine said she just read a book by true crime reporter and lawyer Vincent Bugliosi, who wrote a book called "The Prosecution of George W. Bush for Murder." A somewhat controversial title, but anyway, I ended up meeting him at a seminar at the Massachusetts School of Law, and it was all about how do we hold government officials accountable. And I read the book, and Bugliosi was there, and I talked to him, and he said he would support my campaign. He's the guy that prosecuted the Manson family, and his whole legacy has now come under question because of a new book. I don't know if you know about that, but questioning whether Bugliosi was actually collaborating with the government in its mind control experiments, which I
Oh,
did,
really?
yeah, which I did not know. I did not
Uh-huh.
know at the time. I did question his writing a book on Kennedy, the Kennedy assassination, which supported the lone gunman theory, and I challenged him on that, and he was really taken aback. He thought that that book would be his great legacy. Um, but at any rate, I went on, and actually he came to Vermont. I mean, I supported what he wrote in The People versus Bush, or what he wrote in his book, and I explored more all the legal machinations that were going on by the Bush administration. to, violate the Constitution, get us involved in the war in Iraq under false pretenses. That affected me personally because I knew a lot about oil in the Middle East. And it was a short campaign. It was quixotic. I knew that. I mean, we started our campaign in September before
Oh,
the November elections. But the reason we thought we would have some hope is because Vermont was incredibly against the war in Iraq. There were more soldiers per capita that died in that war than any other state. And so there was strong, strong anti war sentiment. And and our first press conference um, was well attended and reported. Afterwards, it was just silence. I mean, people didn't even know about my campaign outside of Burlington, and many people said, had I known, we would have voted for you, but we didn't know about it. So, big lesson about the media. If you don't have the media behind you, then are you doomed to fail? You may be. By
mm,
the way, let's see what happens to Mondami. Woo!
right,
Yeah, what a
right.
test case that's going to be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Charlotte, we shall talk again as all of these little things unfold.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Hold your
So,
breath.
so you've been listening to Focus on the Candidates. I'm Cynthia Pooler. You've been listening to Charlotte Dennett. And if you like this show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please mark your calendars. August 1st, July 4th is the 250th birthday of the United States, America. And on August 1st, I'm creating a national holiday for candidates called National Candidate Recognition Day. And please honor all the candidates now and in the past, and maybe in the future, who have worked so hard to make sure we get to 250 birthdays.
Yeah, let's hope we get there. God.
Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful day.